Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Tyler McNabb, and this is Project 400EX Refresh. So in the last video, I introduced this project to you. It's my buddy's 400EX, and he's pretty busy with other stuff, so he asked me if I could rebuild it and stuff for him, so that's what we're doing. So in today's video, I'm still waiting on my flywheel puller to come in the mail, so I won't be able to take that off yet. Plus we're still waiting on the light and flywheel as well. So today what I'll probably do is I'll take the clutch apart, take the clutch basket and all that off, and then we've also got a new timing chain for this thing. If I can't remember if I mentioned it in my 400EX walk around video, but mine has the CRF 450 timing chain. I don't know if this one has it or not. It kind of looks like it maybe already does, but you can upgrade these timing chains by putting the CRF 450 timing chain in them. They're a little bit heavier duty. Just make sure they don't, they're not going to stretch as fast as like a stock 400EX, and I guess it's not as likely to break or anything. So we got that I'll go ahead and probably put on. And then also I need to clean up these cases, get all the gaskets scraped off, and then depending on how much time that's taken me, I also need to get the actual cases cleaned up, because we're going to make them look a lot nicer than when I took them off. So yeah, so I guess the only thing left to do is to get to work. So let's get all this clutch stuff off. Okay, so got pretty much everything out of there. Got all the clutch basket and everything out. Got all the gears here going to the oil pump and the timing chain and everything. So I figured I'd just give you guys a couple tips when you're working on stuff like this. So especially while you're in here, you might as well put the gear back on the oil pump and like turn it and make sure it doesn't feel rough or anything. When I rebuilt mine over this last, I guess it was about a year ago, I was putting the oil pump back together and my mechanic was messing with it, and it had some rough spots in it, and so we popped it apart and it was all torn up on the inside from where metal shavings and stuff had gone through it. So while you're in here, you might as well check that out, make sure it's working pretty good, because otherwise you could rebuild a motor and then just totally toast it if your oil pump's not working. The second thing I was going to do has to do with organization, or I was going to tell you has to do with organization. So like, especially when I'm taking a lot of these parts off, like you'll see here, I've got the gears all stacked up, even with the washers and everything, and then I've got like the clutch basket sitting inside with the nuts and the washers. And so what I like to do, if I can, is I stack those up in the order that they came off in. It just makes things a lot easier when you're going to put stuff back together, especially if you've never done it before. A lot of these jobs can be pretty intimidating, but as long as you're pretty organized and you don't just throw bolts and gears and everything just kind of out willy-nilly, you should be pretty good. So yeah, pretty much I've got that all done. So next thing I'm gonna do, go ahead and try to get this cleaned up, get the rest of the gaskets scraped off, and then when we come back I'll probably be cleaning up those cases over there. So yep, I'll get done to this and then we'll get started on those not the cases, I guess, the covers, the clutch cover and the flywheel cover. So here we go. So another thing I forgot to mention is while you're in here, you also want to clean this guy out. So this nut, if you take that off, this little filter pulls out, and that is the filter that goes to your oil pump. So it keeps all the nasty stuff that gets in your bottom end in your oil from going through your oil pump. So I took his out and cleaned it off. Since it did blow up before this, there was some metal shavings in the bottom of it. Not really surprising, but there wasn't any bearing material or anything like that in it, so that's good. That means that all the bearings, like in the crank and that kind of thing, are good. So yeah, so you want to check that, and then yeah, that's pretty much it for tips. I went ahead, got all of this cleaned up, wiped some of the oil and stuff out of here, and I think now we're actually ready to get the cases cleaned up. So I need to scrape the gasket off of there. So I guess I can talk about that too. If when you're trying to get gasket off this, if you can find some gasket remover, definitely use it. It works magic. I haven't been able to find some, so I'm just using trusty old razor blade. But yeah, if you can get some gasket remover and spray on there and let it sit, it almost like basically dissolves the gasket and it makes it 10 times easier. So if you can do that, find it, but otherwise just stick with the trusty razor blade. So yeah, let's get to scraping some gasket off those cases. Hey guys, so it's been a little bit since I was last working on this. Since the last thing you saw was me scraping gasket off the cases. That was actually about a week ago. I was doing that right before I left for vacation, so just got back from vacation, and while I was gone, some goodies showed up for the 400. So here's the cases. I got all the gasket off of that and everything. So here we go. We've got our CRF 450 timing chain. We've got our flywheel puller. It's just a tusk, that's all it is. And the big boy, the Lighten flywheel. So as you can see here, all this material has been shaved off. And so this puppy is a decent amount lighter than the OEM one. And mainly what that helps with is, since there's not as much rotating mass, it helps the engine to rev a lot quicker. And so yeah, that's pretty much what it is, you know. A lot of people say that if you get these, that you'll kill it more often, and I mean, the potential for killing it definitely goes up, but like I've never had a problem with it dying on me or anything while lugging it around or something like that. So I think we'll be good to go. I guess I can let you know I got it from JC Racing. I think they're based out of like Louisiana, but I found them online and they specialize in lightning flywheels, and so I purchased this one off of them for only about, I think this one was 140 bucks for the 400, and then if I send back the one that we're gonna pull off of this quad, they give me like a core charge of like $50. So really, you know, you can get a Lighten flywheel for right around 90 bucks. So that's a pretty good deal in my book. It's a great upgrade to do to these 400s. So now that we've got that and the the flywheel puller, we can go ahead and get the old one off the bike. So let's do that. Okay, so in order to remove the flywheel, first thing you need to do is just take this center bolt out. And so a lot of people have a whole bunch of different ways of doing this, but the best way to do it, really, in my opinion, is just get an impact, and then you can hold the rod, and usually by just holding the rod and hitting it with the impact for a second or so will break it loose, no problem. So here we go. There we go. Yep, so that was really easy. Just hold up on the rod, break that off. So next thing we'll need to do is get the actual flywheel puller in here so we can get this whole assembly out. So next thing is the flywheel puller itself. And so really all this is it's actually an M20 by 1.5 bolt. And I mean, this is just a glorified one. It's got a bigger head on it, but really, if your hardware store somewhere has a really good selection of bolts, you could probably just go in and find it. It's, like I said, it's M20 by 1.5. But all we gotta do is thread this guy in so it'll go tight. And then I'm gonna do the same thing, but instead of loosening it, I'm actually gonna tighten it, and it's gonna pull this flywheel off. Just like that, we get the flywheel off. Okay, so I got the two flywheels sitting here, and as you can see, this one doesn't have, you know, it's solid. It doesn't have any sort of lip or anything up here. It's just solid material. And then you look over at this one, and it's got that big chunk of material missing all around. So, as you can probably imagine, if you take that much material off, it's gonna lighten it quite a bit. So I'll try to get a weight difference, the exact weight difference here once I take it apart. I mean, right off the bat, just by feeling it, and you know, I mean, you can tell a big difference that this one's way lighter. It doesn't help that this one still has the starter clutch on it, the one-way bearing. And I need to run by the hardware store and get the bolts that fit in here, because you have to have like an automotive style puller to kind of pull this off. But yeah, so I need to do that, and then once I get those bolts, I'll be able to pop this one off, transfer it over to here, and then put the new flywheel on the quad. So for now, I'll probably just go ahead and I will take these bolts out of there just to get them out and know what thread they are, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Okay, so that came apart a lot easier than I thought it was going to. I pulled the bolts out, and this guy just popped right out. So I hope that's not like a bad thing. I don't think it is, but maybe it's just the one video I saw on it said that you had to actually pull this off there, so I'm not sure if maybe his was just stuck on or what it was. But yeah, that guy popped right out, and yeah, so it's good to go. I'm gonna probably hold off on putting it back together, because I'm going to be going to actually the guy who owns the quad, I'm going to his shop to clean up the cases, and I'm going to take those and then some of the clutch parts and all that and clean those up in a parts cleaner before I throw them back in the engine, just to make sure everything's clean and, you know, ready to go. You can never be too careful when you're putting back together an engine. So yeah, so I guess the next thing I'm going to do is Now that I've got the flywheel and everything off, I've got a little more gasket to scrape off of here, just to get this case cleaned up. I got a brand new gasket sitting over on the bench, ready to go for this thing. Yeah, and so after that, I think this thing will pretty much be taken all the way apart, and from now on it'll pretty much just be reassembly. So my buddy, he's got the clutch, the new clutch for it. We've got the new flywheel, and then I think he's still waiting on the top end pieces to get finished up. I've got a lot of the stuff over here. This is his old cylinder. I need to take the studs out of it. We got the cylinder, or we got the valve cover, and then the head down in there. So I think that's probably going to be about it for this video. Yeah, we got quite a bit done, got most of the stuff cleaned up, got most of the stuff taken apart, and I think this build is definitely headed in the right direction. So next time, hopefully, maybe we'll be getting close to, maybe he'll have the cylinder and stuff done, so hopefully we can get ready and slap this thing back together to get ready to put the top end back together. I should have the clutch and stuff by then, so I can put it in. Hopefully I'll have everything cleaned up so we can get the flywheel and everything back on. And then also I'm going to be doing a little powder coating to make this thing look a little bit nicer. Just some different pieces and parts and stuff. So I may do a video on that first. We'll see just how it plays out. But once again, thank you guys for watching the videos. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys are liking the content, and once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.